Welcome. I'm so happy that you guys are here. I'm so excited about Style and Story in 2024. We have been working so hard on it behind the scenes. And so if you are currently a member, I hope that there's a lot of value in it for you. I have 3 points, 3 simple secrets that I want to talk to you guys about today that will help you gain the right perspective and shift your mindset so that you can find beauty in your home without having to spend a ton of money on storage, supplies, or furniture. And I fully believe this is possible. I love this quote: every great design begins with an even better story. But for a long time, I didn't really understand what that meant. Like, what is it? When an interior designer, when I'm reading an article in House Beautiful, and an interior designer says she's really a storyteller, what does that mean? And it didn't make a lot of sense to me. So we're going to talk about that today. But I'm hoping that the value that this webinar brings to you is that whether you feel overwhelmed with too much stuff, paralyzed by indecision when it's time to make purchases, or you can't quite figure out how to pull a room together, this webinar will help you figure out the next steps that you need to take on your journey to creating a more beautiful and authentic home. So in the chat, and I will toggle screens here so that I can go check it out. But why are you here today? Like, why did you come? Did you come because you were curious, or did you come because you want a more beautiful home? What was your impetus for wanting to join us today? Just put that in the chat box, because I would like for you guys to know that no matter what reason you're here, you're not alone. We're all attracted to this idea of beauty. We're all attracted to this transformation, this before and after. So what I would like to say, though, is who this is for is people who feel like their house might look like that top picture. Who this is not for is people who want their house to look like the after picture. That is not what we are going for. In fact, it's what, if you are not attracted to that, if you are attracted to that room on the bottom, that after, that's totally fine. It's a well done room. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not a storied style. And what do I mean by that? Well, it looks like someone just went into a furniture showroom and bought everything, including the fireplace. It wasn't accumulated over time. It wasn't curated. There might have been a lot of design thought that has gone into that. There has not been a lot of story thought. And for that reason, we end up with sort of a cold, impersonal room. And today we're going to talk about how we can go from this to this. What if we could take homes that we don't like, design problems, challenges that we have, things that we don't know what to do with, and turn them into something beautiful. So, hi, I'm Whitney, and that top right picture is a little bit older, in one of our older homes, and it was a professional photographer that came to take these pictures of us. And you can see that even in this photograph that there is a sippy cup on the back table. I love a beautiful home. I have a degree in interior design. I've been designing in repeat for 20 years, in repeat meaning textiles. But I've just recently started pursuing textiles as another entrepreneurial hat. Some of my homes have 2, 4, 5, 6. We're on our 7th home. There we go. We started out in this little father of the bride looking house, this large picture, which really encapsulates my preferred style, which is very traditional. We currently live in the house on the top right, which no longer looks like that at all. We would like to get it looking a little bit better. We had to cut down a bunch of trees, and so we don't have quite as much green there anymore. And then the house on the bottom right is a house that we built from scratch, and I got to pick out everything and do everything, and I just have learned a lot over the course of those houses. So I do love transformation. I think all of you guys probably do too. Take a minute in the chat box and just think about, like, do you feel like you have a design, is there a design problem or dilemma that you're dealing with? And what would transformation look like for you? If you could get rid of that design problem, or if you had a community to help you talk through, like, how do you get from point A to point B? What does that transformation, like, what would that end result look like and feel like for you? So the one thing I want you guys to walk away with today is I want to teach you how to create a beautiful home that tells your stories. This webinar is going to teach you my 3 secrets, but if you want someone to guide you as you walk through this journey, the Style and Story community, which we'll talk more about at the end, is going to be the place to get encouragement, design tips, helpful resources, and behind the scenes sneak peeks of my own home journey. And throughout the rest of this webinar, I've actually not used my own images, but I've used a lot of images that give this example of what a Style and Story home looks like. One more little round of, these are some of my iPhone snapshots of the home that we live in. It's very as is, like, this is our kitchen. This is what it looks like. Is it perfect? No. This is currently what our sofa looks like, because it doesn't have any cushions on it, because I've got to find fabric and figure out how to get it to the upholsterer. That is a design dilemma that I am currently working on. Could I just go to the store and buy a new sectional sofa? Maybe. But would I have something that's personal and interesting? And no, I wouldn't. So we're going to talk more about how to get there. So are you guys feeling me? Do you feel like you've ever been there? Like, you have got a messy house and you clean the house, but then even still, like, you're looking at it, you're like, this is not quite what I'm talking about here. If you've been there, raise your hand. You're not alone. So this is our current house. And I wanted to show you, this is what it looked like when we bought it, literally. And this is more what it looks like right now. And instead of saying after, I wanted to say during, because it's still not complete. We have a long way to go and have already spent a lot more money on plumbing than we ever thought we would. And that has really eaten into our decor budget. So now that's a design challenge that I'm facing. But I just wanted to share this with you guys. So the lesson that I've learned about all of this is that good design takes time. A lot of people want to they want to buy a house, hire a contracting crew, get it all done, move it, it's done. And when you do that, you end up with what you end up doing is, I've had clients that have done this, is you buy things that you end up not using. Because I had a client one time who bought a mirror for her daughter's room, and I was like, don't buy it, don't buy it. She's like, but it's on sale. And sure enough, like, she didn't end up using it in the room because it didn't fit. So when you just go out and just start buying stuff, very often you end up making a lot of expensive mistakes, and just not having all the things in the right place to be able to make decisions. So it just takes time, and I believe it takes a community too. So my goal for you is for you to walk away from this webinar with a few more tips and tricks that will help you create a personalized home. If you walked into this home right here and you said to the homeowner, tell me about this, she would probably tell you the story of where she got the blue and white bowls, or maybe the story of how she came to own the chandelier, or how she collected the books on the bookshelves, or maybe what the photographs, maybe the travels of the photographs of traveling that are on the bookshelf. So she could probably tell you all about that. The first secret I want to share with you, though, is start where you are. I think we all want to get done, get finished, get it beautiful, get it glossy magazine beautiful as fast as possible. Throughout the rest of this webinar, I'm actually going to use photos from the Instagrammer, and I'll share her name again at the end, so don't feel like you have to take notes. But her name's Mara Indras, and she has been on Instagram for several years. And in those years, she's shown the evolution. She has told the story of the home that they are living in. I don't know her personally. This is a picture of her living. This is the first picture she posted on Instagram of her living room. It does look maybe like she's recently moved in. There's not a lot of stuff. That's fine. If you're into minimalism, that's great too. I'm not, so this might not be for you if you're looking for a minimalist interior design approach, but you can kind of see that she's got some basics. We've got some neutral colored chairs, woven rug, and then just definitely some personal collection stuff of the blue and white. And it looks like some antlers and some more natural, like foraged materials. But I wanted to show you this still older photo. We're going to talk about this table on the left that you can barely see in the picture here in a little bit. But you can see that, what's happened as she's added things over time and how that space has evolved and really warmed up. Every great design begins with an even better story. And so maybe you're feeling held back because you feel like a broken piggy bank. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the idea. My brain is full of other things that are more important that I have to do. And that is why I started Style and Story, is because it truly takes a village. And as a designer, I can tell you that my home is the hardest. It is the hardest for me. I can go to somebody else's house and solve problems all day long, design dilemmas. It is so hard for me to do my own home. This is one of the things that we talk about in Style and Story is starter style. We focused on this in October. So if you read our blog or get our newsletters, you probably saw some of this theme. And this is something that we're going to build on in 2024. But just this idea of, okay, I want to get started. I am tired of making design mistakes. I want to do it the right way. Where do I start? And this is a picture from Mara's dining room. Again, it's an older photo, and it's a great example of a blank slate. It is literally just a blank slate. She's got pretty much white walls, pretty much white trim, a very simple classic dining table, white slip-covered Parsons chairs that probably came from IKEA, very simple glassware, and then that incredible brass chandelier with black shades. And again, I just love her style because you see how she uses what she has to change things over time. So you'll see that chandelier in a few more pictures as well. So the new truth that I want you guys to embrace is we do not have to have unlimited budgets or a design background to have a beautiful home. I can start where I am and take small steps towards creating a home that is not only beautiful, but also tells my story, which leads me to the next point that we want to make, which is use what you've got. Start where you are, use what you've got. This is secret number 2. So whenever I was little, my mom kept Haven magazines on our coffee table, and I would look through them and I would say, ooh, I like this room, or ooh, I like this room, or ooh. And my mom always challenged me and said, well, what do you like about it? And she was really challenging me to take the room apart and figure out what was it I liked about the room. And most of the time, what I liked about the room was the story that it told. So if I took all the words away, what story would that room tell me? What would it tell me about the person who lived in that home? And this is another example of, so I pointed out in one of Mara's last photos, the table on the left-hand side of the photo. This is a more recent photo, and that table, you can see it's the same table. It's a sawhorse table with a board laid across the top of it. So she had used that table in one room long time ago. It looks like it might be a table that she can keep in storage, maybe in a basement, maybe in an attic. It looks like very simple to set up, and yet it's expansive. Also, she has these bamboo folding chairs that she frequently uses. And it's just a really great example of you don't have to have like permanent, like you can actually start with some flexible pieces. You kind of have to get creative about which pieces those are and where you're going to store them and what the investment is going to be. But we can see that she's using some different pieces in her house and letting it evolve and grow with her. Oh, there's the table again on the left. See, same table, table, table. New does not mean better. And for a lot of people, they just can't get beyond this idea that if I didn't buy it at a store, or if I mean, I've even had clients say, if I don't pay a lot of money for it, I am embarrassed about it. I've literally had friends tell me that. And it makes me sad because it tells me that as a society, we don't have an appreciation for quality, because I can find an incredible brass chandelier, just absolutely beautiful. Now, it might not be everybody's style. You might like cleaner lines, but there is a way to incorporate things that are of quality and not appreciated by society, frankly, into a home that feels beautiful. It just takes time. I loved this quote. Design is an opportunity to continue telling the story, not just to sum everything up. So this idea of a home being finished is not what we're going for. The philosophy is that our home evolves with us. My mom used to say that the way we use the rooms in our homes changes every 7 years. I don't know where she got that. But if you think about it, especially if you are in early marriage stages, your home's going to change when you have kids. Then your home's going to be one type of home when you have small children, and a different type of home when you have growing children. And the things that happen in each of those rooms, in each of the rooms of your home, are going to evolve as your lifestyle evolves. So by starting where we are and using what we have, our home can start to tell our story. And I love this photo because it's just a great example of somebody had this chipped little blue and white blue willow porcelain dish, and they thought, oh, I could put a bar of soap in there, and it nailed it. And the third secret I have to share with you guys is do what you can. So back to Mara's house. I mean, you can tell this is the same room. It's from the initial photo that I showed you. It's facing the other direction, but you can see how you still see probably the same chairs. I know that sofa has changed over time. Her blue and white collection has grown. I know that she's rearranged the art on the gallery wall, which is another great example of a start where you are thing. Just starting to collect art and realizing that you can do this gallery wall thing, and it can be a spectacular example of displaying stories that you have to tell. I also wanted to share this story with you. Laura, whenever we were putting together this webinar, shared this story with me. She needed some bar stools and didn't have the money to do it. Found these on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody was giving them for free, and she turned them into a story. She reassembled them, re-glued them, painted them, put them back together. Her kids helped. And she wrote a really beautiful story about that. Laura's a great writer. I'm going to escape out of this because this is in my notes. But finding bar stools for our kitchen island has been on the to-do list for almost 2 years. Everything I found that was out of our price range, so our kitchen island has stayed seatless. Just before Christmas, I was scrolling through a local group and saw these bar stools advertised as free, perfect for someone who wants a project. I snagged them and stuck them in the garage. My 3- and 6-year-old were thrilled about my find and were fascinated when I told them I planned to fix them and redo them. They were desperate to be a part of the project, and so on a sunny 70-degree day, January Saturday, we laid a tarp on the back deck and got to work. Do you see how she's turning this into a story and teaching her kids something at the same time? She gave them instructions. It's a sweet story. They get paint everywhere. There's paint dripping down the stools. We went behind and cleaned them up, and then later they shopped for fabric to recover their seats. And so she's showing them, she's teaching her kids, and they're all boys, but she's teaching them the importance of making a house a home. From start to finish, they were invested in the project. The stools didn't turn out perfectly. If you look closely, you'll find plenty of paint drips, but they're now a favorite spot to perch. I just love Laura's words about this. This little DIY project did more than I imagined it would. Most practically, it added seating, or it reminded me of some important truths. It reminded me that sometimes you have to have the eyes to see what can be, not just what is. It reminded me that my kids' abilities and interests are sometimes more than I would think. It reminded me that sometimes the right thing comes along when you wait, if you don't jump at the wrong thing first. It reminded me that it takes time, effort and elbow grease, but something broken and cast out can be made into something beautiful. Not the same as before and not perfect, but beautiful nonetheless. I wanted to share that, just a beautiful example of what we're talking about. So we don't have to transform our rooms all at one time. A beautiful home doesn't mean everything has to be new. And my home doesn't have to look like it belongs in a magazine for it to be a beautiful home. And here we have another great example. I would also categorize this photo as starter style, but you've got a vintage coffee pot on the stove, an assorted collection of spoons and utility knives and things. The set of knives on the magnet behind the stove is mismatched, which is a lovely style. That little pat of butter beside the stove is just genius. I do leave our butter sitting out, but I really like the glass dome idea. That's pretty awesome. But it's just a very great example of, you've got this and I mean, the countertops aren't even the latest trend of, white marble. They're a glossy granite. So just an example of how you can pull all this together without having the latest and the greatest. This is another example. This is not from Mara's Instagram, but it's a woman in England, and I found these photos on Pinterest. And it just kind of shows like how she is styling this same angle of the room different ways, and focusing even in her photos, she's focusing on different highlighted aspects of each of this one additional wall. Here are more pictures of the evolution of Mara's living room. Again, you can see this. You can see the old sofa on the left, and then decorated for Christmas in the center. And then I like the picture on the right because it really just shows layers. She's got fabric tossed on the back of the chairs, another piece of fabric draped across the table. Another thing that I really, really, really love about Mara's style is I'm pretty sure they added on this little library that you can see in the corner on that. You can actually see it in the middle picture and on the right-hand side picture. And they painted everything in that room. She's always been very generous with her paint colors. They painted the entire thing Tobacco by Pratt and Lambert, which is actually a really deep brown color, even though it looks like a dark, dark green to me in these pictures. I always thought it was a dark green. And then she told me what the color was, and I looked it up. But I just love how she just thought, we're going to trim that out. We're going to case that out with some the trim around the door is a lot more detailed than the trim around the other doorways. But then she painted it this color to really, draw that room into. Anyway, I just love it. I'm like, where can I add a library onto my house? So if I do what I can today, over time, I will transform my home into a beautiful space that tells my story. And that's what I want. That's what I want you guys to say to yourselves. If I do what I can today, over time, I will transform my home into a beautiful space that tells my story. And on the right, we have a picture from that last green room again that I showed you. Another quote I love: a personal style is like handwriting. It happens as the byproduct of our way of seeing things, enriched by the experiences of everything around me. Massimo Vignetti. So who's with me? Like, who feels this? Is this something that interests you? Is this something that you want to, is this a journey you want to embark on with me? This idea of leaning into the evolution of our homes and taking it from plain to storied. So quick recap, we've talked about starting where we are, using what we've got, doing what we can. I wanted to talk about who this is for. If you feel like maybe this is your house, and this is just a photo from Pinterest, I have no idea whose home this is. It looks like a lovely home, but it just kind of feels, even though there is evidence of the human element in this room, it doesn't really feel pulled together. But you got this huge white wall, a ceiling fan that has a light on it. I mean, you can just tell that someone's tried, but it's not quite as pulled together as we want our homes to be. So most people don't start on this journey because, frankly, we're afraid of it's going to cost too much money. We're afraid it's going to take too much time. also, some people know it can be frustrating, especially when you get into dealing with contractors or trying to find someone who can make cabinets for you or things like that. But these are things that you do not need a designer to do. You can do this stuff by yourself. You just need a guide to help you get there. So I'm going to transition now to talking about what style and story looks like behind the scene here in a second to give you guys a behind the scenes tour. But really quick, I just wanted to let you know that so Style and Story it can be a monthly membership or an annual membership, but this is what you get. We have a printable library in there. You can request printables. If you want a specific printable for a specific purpose, we can work on that. We do workshops. This past year, we picked a theme for every month, and we either hosted a live course about it where someone could watch the recording later, or we pulled together copy and did lessons via blog post and Substack. You get all of our courses, which currently we have that's the only full-fledged course we have right now is the Heart Goals course. But some of these other pieces of content like starter style, we might evolve what we're working on with that into a more robust course that we would then take and sell to people who don't want to be members. Right now, that's not available as an option, but that's kind of what we're doing with the content that we're working on and we're creating. So you would have access to that as we develop that. And then you also get access to all my private Substack posts. So I have a private Substack. You do not have to be a member in both places. Some people want to be just a member on Substack. That's fine. We actually cross-post all the posts from Substack into our Circle community, which is where we meet. And so you don't have to maintain 2 accounts. I also show you sneak peeks of things that I'm working on. And my goal is for Style and Story to be an encouraging community, a place where you can bring a design dilemma and say, what do you think I should do with this? And get some ideas and feedback. For 2024, we are looking to do a quarterly design focus. So we'll talk about hearts. In the first quarter, we'll do heart goals because just starting with where we are and who we are and just real life, it's really going to help set us up for success for the rest of the year. And then last year we did a workshop called Heart Meets Home, where we talked about more the meaning behind beauty and things. It was I'm looking for a word here. It was a very visceral course. I'm looking for a word that means like not concrete, but ambiguous is not what I'm looking for. We talked a lot about just how design should feel in that, like how a home should feel and the things that we can do in a home to start creating those feelings of warmth and coziness and family and peace and love and joy and whatever you want your home to feel like. I'm hoping we can do some monthly design challenges, some collaborative Pinterest boards, and then some curated shopping links. We also will hopefully be doing more room dilemma things. Okay. I love these comments. I'm going to have to go back and listen to them later. I want to give you a tour. So when you log in to Style and Story, you land on this home feed. So we have this little welcome section here, and then the home section is the main feed. The home section is, if we post something, it'll show up here always. There's a member directory. There's an event. So right now this event is what's happening. And then thanks to Circle, our hosting platform, we have this ability to offer courses. Currently, Heart Goals 2023 is still here. This will go away whenever we launch the 2024 Heart Goals. And then you can see in draft mode that I am working on a course called the Style and Story Framework. We're also working on, you registered to watch this webinar. So you're already registered on Circle and you're a free member in Style and Story. And we hope to offer some freebies and maybe some more workshops. And if you just want to be a free member and see what we've got going on here, you've already created your account. That's totally fine. You can do that. But we've got this section that's only visible to paying members, and where I'm we're working on building all of this out because it takes a lot of time, but I love it. So we've got this welcome video, some community and guidelines and values. I need to get a header image for that right there. Then we actually have 2 conversation areas, and the format of these is going to change. We have this say hello area and then a celebrate your wins. And both of those we're going to restructure to focus. And then we have this section called the latest, where this is where we just post like random updates. But all of these updates show up in the home feed as well. Then we have, this is where we cross post all my Substack posts. And then last year in June, our focus was on book club, and everybody loved it. We had a lot of engagement and feedback that more books would be interesting. So I think we're going to do that this year. I think we might just start really small and, maybe start with an assortment or maybe share what we've read, or I don't know, we'll work it out, but we're looking forward to doing more on book club. Down here is under resources, we've got the Hartwell's course again. This is an important section in the membership because this is where a lot of value is, because we've spent a lot of time, my team and I've spent a lot of time on all these workshops and guides. So we've got calendar class because we're moving from just my family. We're moving away from paper planners and more towards a digital. I still love a paper planner and a good pen, but so as I learned Google Calendar, I was like, I'm going to just take notes so that I can teach other people that as well. We have file by binder workshop, our garden guidebook workshop, which we will probably do at least a webinar on again this year, maybe updates. And again, like as members, you can request printables and things like that. So if you're using these materials slightly differently than how we've provided them, that is considered feedback. And then we can go back to the drawing board and update things and just keep it all fresh. And so we've got Heart 2023 right here, Home Design Handbook, which is it's a binder packet that you can print out, and it can help you create a book that will help be your guide as you work on your home. The Home Meets Heart workshop, which I have already talked about. How to wrap a gift workshop. This is just a funny video of me wrapping a gift. Plan to Plate, where I talked about meal planning. It's on here twice because I need to edit that. Preventing the Holiday Craziness workshop, and then Starter Style and British Style, which we're working on filling out the content on those as well. In addition to the workshops and guides, like workshops usually are a video that's recorded from a live session like this. The guides are usually a printable book. Our printable library, it's not loading. My internet doesn't like all the bandwidth. Maybe if I click on one of these, no, it's not liking me, guys. So the printable library, I'm trying to think from memory here. We have, actually, you know what? I'm going to stop sharing so that I can just talk to you and answer questions. And actually, maybe it will, no, it's still not liking me. So we've got printables for all kinds of checklist and bucket list and calendar formats. And if there's a calendar format that you want that you don't see, let us know. We'll just whip it up as a little blank sheet you can use. I'm trying to think what else. We could, I document a lot of stuff. So like recipes, I have so much that I could share. So my goal for 2024 is how can I get this stuff to you in a way that provides value and then allows you to share too, so that we're all in a community like doing this together, because I can't afford to hire an interior designer, even though I would like to, just because your own house is the hardest. So let me look. Okay, I'm going to look at comments. Peggy said, I bought a ton of stuff in the past and my house still doesn't look great. Then I decluttered all the stuff I bought and I'm terrified to go back because I don't know what I'm doing. That we are your people. Peggy. Katie says they're transitioning towards empty nesters, trying to figure out where we want to take our home in that transition. That is just totally a problem. I would love to brainstorm with you, Katie. Stacy's also an empty nester and is looking maybe to downsize, which is a fun opportunity. I actually was over at a friend's house last night who downsized after her boys left the house, and it was fun. I'd never been to her house before. It was fun to see it. She's a great designer, and she really pivoted their style whenever she did that. Plus, Stacy, you have the combined household and you've worked to curate a cozy home without spending a ton of money. Yeah, and I think I am so happy with my home, even though it's partly finished. But it also means that I always have a project on my plate. But those projects mean more to me. They're not just projects. The fact that my sofa doesn't have cushions on it right now, and it's taking longer than most people would be able to tolerate. I mean, my kids know we've been through this 7 times. They know that we will get there. And so it's also great to I'm just enjoying as my children enter their teen years, and I've got a 14-year-old. I mean, I have 4 years left with him, but I love my kids so much. And, as long as they keep their stuff clean, I probably wouldn't care if they lived with me forever. Yes, Stacy, the layers in Mara's house are fantastic. Okay, so there weren't a ton of questions. Let me go back to my notes. We're at almost an hour here, and I want to respect your time, but I also want to make sure I've told you everything that I want to tell you. I have too many windows open, y'all. Too many tabs open. Okay, so the membership options, if you are already a member of Style and Story, you don't have to do anything. You are actually our founding members, and we launched last year. If you are a member that joined at one of those times, your membership rate is locked in and you don't need to do anything to change it. But we do have 2 payment plans for those who are wanting to join. One is $19 a month, and one is, or you can join for $190 as an annual member. We are doing a free bonus. If you subscribe, you can upgrade. If you were a monthly member last year and you would like this free bonus, you'll have to subscribe to the yearly membership, which is $190. But fun free bonus, we are launching a digital planner on December 1st, and we are giving the digital planner to our annual members for free. The digital planner is going to be $29, and we're going to sell it in our Etsy shop as a printable download. It's a PDF. You load it onto your iPad. You use the GoodNotes app with it, and then you can use a pen to plan. And we'll have some fun, like live workshops, or I'll record some tutorial videos to show you how I'm learning that and adapting to using that. So really and truly, you're getting all this stuff for $19 a month or $190. The question you need to ask yourself is this worth it? I would just love to personally be a resource. If y'all are in a thrift store and you wonder if you should buy it, I would love for Style and Story to be this place where somebody could post a picture and say, what do you think? My passion, my personal passion, is to share the beauty of home with other people. And I recently just hit this point in life where I realized I had 2 choices. I could try to be an interior designer, and which I have done in the past. I have had clients in the past. Or I could teach people how to design. I could kind of be like your interior design coach, just somebody who helps you off to the side. And I'm choosing, this is me actively choosing, saying, okay, I am not going to do design for other people, but I will coach people on how to do design for themselves. It's more affordable for all of us that way. And I just think really important. I mean, we spend every day in our homes. That's a lot of time to spend in a place that we don't love. So so $19 a month feels really doable for me, and the value that we can create for each other. Oh, I also forgot another thing that we can do, because I have a design idea. I have a tax ID. I can go to market. So If there are high-end pieces that you find that you want to order, I can very often get you guys a discount on those. And that's something that we could get into just as the need arose. So I honestly think if you are ready to transform your home and you like the style of some of the photos that I've shown you here today, then Style and Story is a great place for you to be. Enrollment is only going to be open for 1 week. Through November 29th. And so we'll be talking a lot about this on social media. We'll be sharing the link. So if you are thinking about joining, just keep that date in mind. Enrollment will close on November 29th. And then I'm not sure when we're going to open it back up again because it just kind of depends on schedules and stuff. So that's it. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer about membership or about... Oh, hi, Michelle. Yeah, we don't want it to look junky, Donna. I hear you on that. Yes. Okay. So if anybody has any questions about the group or the products that the content that we're going to be creating for 2024, or suggestions or ideas, you are welcome to share those. We're totally open to feedback. I love feedback. And then if you are members and you saw my most recent post, I actually put a comment in there about how I'm trying to construct a really robust feedback loop where people can, some people feel bad about giving feedback, and I don't want people to feel bad. So it's going to be anonymous where you can just be like, I would like this. And we can do that for you there. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you for your time. I hope you walked away with some ideas and some inspiration. Stacy, we're not capping membership. We're just closing enrollment. So just so that we can take care of you guys, like just so that we can get in there and get started. When we're out there promoting the membership, it's hard for us to focus on the content that we're creating for the members. So like when we were doing starter style theme, when we did British style theme, when we did meal planning, we've been, putting a lot of work into that behind the scenes. And last year was our first year for Style and Story. And we got a lot of that framework really ironed out, and we got it all into one place. We finally figured out, like, this is this circle thing, this community thing, this is how we're going to make this work. And so 2020 be fun because we're going to build on it. So I hope that we will open enrollment again soon, but it just kind of depends on... Stacy, I thought I recognized your name. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to open enrollment again. We will open enrollment again, but I don't know when. And it's just going to depend on, it just depends on like life, I would love to. And another thing I think is important for this vision I have of this community is I need some of the current members we need to kind of congeal and get this, there's a little bit of a formula for this design style that I'm talking about, this layered story idea of style. And I would really like to get some current members who are passionate about it as well in there, so that because I can talk about your design dilemma all day long. I love it. And that's another thing that we're probably going to do next year is more before and afters. So if you have a room that you need help with, I'm going to try to pick one set of photos submitted per month. And I do the thing where I draw on my iPad on top of it and show you, like, if I did it, like, this is how I would do it, just to give you ideas and stuff, which is so fun and people love it. So if you've got a room that you've got if you're looking for design advice, you want to post a picture, like, and you're currently a member, just post a picture. Cause I could probably be like, well, you could do this, 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 and this. I mean, really and truly, like, give me the design dilemmas. Cause this is something that I can talk about in my sleep. I like planning, in case you didn't know that. I don't like talking about planning. I am a terrible planner, terrible. Really not that great a designer either, but I can talk about it. And so I would just love to, and my friends do love, my in real life friends do love talking to me about design stuff. So I'm just hoping to create that in an online space. Okay. Thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram, or you think you can even DM me in Circle now that you're here. Thank you for being here. Let me know what I can do to help you. I'll see you guys later.